Hi, I'm Jill Darcey, and I'd like to ask you a really simple question. Why are you spending tens of thousands of dollars on parenting plans and trying to get structure put around working with your ex when simply you don't need to be? What I'm going to take you through is how you don't need to be spending $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, and people do this frequently, on battling it out with lawyers or battling it out with child psychologists and all sorts of professionals, when actually you just need to know how you can parent beyond separation, beyond divorce, when you've got children and you've got an ex. Now, I know that you can feel really scared when you've gone through a divorce and you're afraid of what your divorce is actually going to be doing to your children, and with very good reason. The stats of what our children go through when we've been divorced is pretty scary stuff. Let me run through it, not to freak you out, but just to make sure we've got this out in the open so then we can deal with it. They're 5 times more likely to be poor. They're more likely to drop out of school, be in trouble with the law. They're more likely to become teen parents. They're also more likely to be divorced themselves. And a result of all of this, our children are actually more likely to die from ill health before the average age. And these are just not great stats for any parent. We lose enough sleep worrying about them as it is without having all that lumped on top. So what I'd also like to talk about is what most parents do when we go through this. 1 in 3 children lose contact with their dad. That is exceptionally high, and we know that a child really needs to have contact with both mum and dad. 50% of parents, so over half of us, are actually saying that we will put our children through intrusive court proceedings to get our own way. And of this, more and more of us are actually starting to say that we will drag this out to get what we want, irrespective of what damage it's doing to our children. A whopping 70% actually say they use their children as a bargaining tool. That is a phenomenal number of us, and if I'm talking to you right now, it's pretty likely that you might fall into that camp as well. 20% of parents have said that they will actively set out to make their ex's life a misery and as unpleasant as possible, regardless of what happens to the kids in the process. So I hope that you don't fall into that camp. What I'd like to do now is just flick this around and have a look at it from a child's perspective, because that's what the parents go through. Let's have a look at what the kids go through. So about half of all children that go through this process turn around and say that both parents have discounted their views. 25% of children say that they were forced to lie to the other parent. That is a really poor insight onto what we do when we've got an ex and once we've been through divorce. As a result of this, 8% of children contemplate suicide. 33 turn to drugs or alcohol to actually numb their emotions around it, and 10% just resort to crime and end up in delinquency. So these are not great stats for anyone. They're especially not great stats if you're one of the parents that is agonising over this. And what I'd like to point out to you is the reason that the majority of this happens is because simply you don't know what you need to be doing. And what I'm going to do is take you through what you do need to know so you can avoid all of that. Our children are the innocent ones in all this, and we need to do a lot more to help our children adjust to a divorced life. If we leave them to coping, they go back into the horrible statistics I've just rattled off. If we start dealing with this in a really constructive way, we'll help our children to adjust. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how you do that so you're not lying awake at night worrying about all these things. Just to let you know, I know how you feel. I have walked your road. I've had 3 preschool children when my marriage ended, and I have gone through the peaks and the potholes of raising children with an ex. I understand what it's like to be a solo parent. I understand what it's like to parent with a step parent, and I understand what it's like to parent with an ex and an ex with a partner. So you're not listening to someone who's just full of theory and should work ideas. You are talking to someone here who is tried and true. These are tested, refined, and tested again. I know that this works, and this has been done through many years of counselling and coaching others, and I know that you will save yourself years and years of family dysfunction, thousands and thousands of dollars, and you will never get this time back again. You only get one chance to raise your children, and you need to get as much information and knowledge and wisdom as you can so you make a really good job of it, because you only get one shot at it. I know it's hard, as any parent knows, that when you go through this, you kind of think, gosh, if only I'd done better. If only I'd known what to do earlier. So I'm going to teach you how to be a fantastic parent even when you've got an ex that can be a real pain. I'm going to tell you how you can build security and stability for your children's life regardless on what's going on the other side. I'll show you how to establish boundaries for yourself and your children that really work. How to stop the poison from your ex affecting your children forever. How to stop fighting over the one who has who when and who goes where for how long. How to avoid the arguments over money. How to communicate. How to talk. And even when there feels like there's no hope of that anymore. I'll teach you how to save tens of thousands of dollars on parenting plans and court rulings that simply don't work. If you really want to make a difference in your child's life, take this first step towards being a really successful parent beyond separation, beyond divorce, and enter your name and email address below to find out more. Thank you.